From bottle to blockchain, Michael Rivers woke up on a park bench with a pounding headache and the bitter taste of cheap whiskey in his mouth. The sky above him was gray, and the city sounds felt too loud, too sharp. His phone was gone. His wallet was empty. Again. At 38, he had lost almost everything. His job as a mechanic, his apartment, most of his friends, and the trust of his family. The only thing that stayed with him was alcohol. It was the quiet friend that never judged him, never told him he was wasting his life. That morning, as he sat up and rubbed his burning eyes, he noticed something strange on the bench beside him, an old smartphone. The screen was cracked, but it was still on. At first, he thought it was a trick of his tired brain. He picked it up. No password, no lock. The only thing open on the phone was a webpage titled, Crypto Basics, How Blockchain Changes the World. Michael almost laughed. Crypto. He barely understood how to keep his life together, and now the universe was offering him internet money tutorials. He was about to throw the phone away when his stomach growled. Hunger was stronger than pride. He thought, if I can figure out how people make money from this, maybe I can at least eat. So he started reading. For the next few days, Michael stayed near a public library. He used the free Wi-Fi to learn. He read about Bitcoin, Ethereum, decentralization, smart contracts. At first it sounded like science fiction, but slowly, painfully, it began to make sense. He found a torn backpack in a donation box behind a shelter. Inside was an old laptop. Dirty, slow, but alive. It became his classroom. Michael stopped drinking in the mornings. Not because he had become strong, but because he wanted his mind clear enough to understand what he was reading. Weeks passed. He learned how to create wallets, how to store private keys, how to read price charts. He joined free online forums under the nickname Second Chance 38. One day, someone in a chat mentioned a new project, a tiny, unknown crypto token that was still worth almost nothing. Most people laughed at it. Michael didn't. He had a strange feeling. A hunch. Something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. He didn't have money, but he had an idea. He collected empty bottles and cans from trash bins. He returned them for recycling money. Sometimes it was only $2. Sometimes $5. For 3 months, he saved every coin. No alcohol, no cigarettes, just cheap bread, water, and stubborn will. When he finally had $300, he walked into a small electronics shop and asked for the cheapest possible used laptop and USB drive. That night, with shaking hands, Michael bought that unknown crypto. Most of the world had never heard of it. The price did nothing for months. Then, it dropped. His $300 turned into $120. Online forums panicked. People sold in fear. Many called the project a scam. Michael stared at the screen and whispered, "I've already lost more than this." He held. Time passed. Michael found a small job cleaning a warehouse at night. Not glamorous, not easy, but honest. He used the job to avoid drinking. He was too tired when he finished his shift. 6 months later, the crypto market suddenly woke up. News headlines exploded. New blockchain project gains attention from major companies. That tiny token Michael had bought began to rise. 3 cents right pointing arrow $0.10 right pointing arrow $0.50 right pointing arrow $2 right pointing arrow $10. Michael watched the chart in silence. His hands trembled, but this time it wasn't withdrawal. It was disbelief. One night, he refreshed the page and saw a number that didn't feel real. $1 million. He blinked, closed the page, opened it again. Still there. A homeless alcoholic had become a crypto millionaire. But the most important change wasn't the money. It was the man. Michael rented a small, clean apartment. Simple furniture. No luxury. No excess. He fixed his teeth. He called his sister for the first time in years. At first she cried. Then she got angry. Then she listened. "I'm sober," he said quietly. "I'm trying again." He created a foundation called Second Chance Fund to help people with addictions learn real skills, programming, online security, and financial literacy. He knew that not everyone would become a millionaire. But he also knew that knowledge was a kind of wealth that didn't disappear overnight. Years later, Michael returned to that same park. The same bench. He sat there in a clean coat, holding a warm cup of coffee instead of a bottle. He didn't know who left that old phone that started it all. Maybe it was luck. Maybe it was fate. Maybe it was just a small accident in the universe. But he smiled and whispered, "Thank you." And for the first time in his life, he felt truly rich, not because of crypto, but because he had found himself again.